Now, as if it's not complicated enough trying to hold together the Catholic stream on the one hand and the Protestant or evangelical stream on the other, Anglicanism insists on recognising and including a third element. Human reason, experience and intellectual inquiry also have a proper place in the life of faith, according to Anglicans. Behind this emphasis is the influence of the Renaissance and the flowering of thought and discovery of all sorts which accompanied the Reformation movements in continental Europe. The emergence of critical reasoning, the emergence of historical awareness, the emergence of methods of scientific inquiry, all had their impact in the life of the Church too. You often hear of the role of reason in Anglican theology, but by reason we mean more than simply the human capacity to think. Reason includes that, but it encompasses much more besides. Reason includes an openness to all fields of human intellectual inquiry, the sciences, the arts, the humanities, and yes, even other religious faiths and traditions. And this openness is based on much more than curiosity and good manners. It derives from a deep theological conviction that all truth, no matter how it's arrived at, ultimately comes from God, and that God has blessed human beings with minds to explore and inquire. Charles Raven, a noted Anglican scientist, sees the freedom to investigate as the particular glory of Anglicanism. So Anglicans tend to hear the voice of God in reason and try to remain open to the truth discovered by whatever means. Intellectual, artistic, scientific and intuitive apprehensions all count. And this gives a common sense kind of flavour to Anglican theology and an inclusive character to Anglican spiritual life. This openness to truth, wherever it is found, also means that Anglican churches tend to have an open, engaged, affirming stance towards societies in which they are set. This flows from the doctrine of the Incarnation, the Word becoming flesh and living among us. It's the kind of stance we see expressed clearly, I think, in Jesus' own life. It's not that anything and everything is to be accommodated. It's not a matter of anything goes. There is a critical edge to it. But what can be affirmed should be affirmed. You can see this, the roots of this kind of stance well before the Enlightenment and the Reformation, right back in Pope Gregory the Great's instructions to Augustine. He told Augustine that pagan temples were not to be destroyed, only the idols within them. So the buildings were to be purified and consecrated for use as churches for Christian worship. Where it was possible to retain local customs and practices without offending the Christian faith, that was to be done. Gregory told Augustine to substitute festivals for Christian martyrs and saints for the heathen festivals, to take them over and transform them, as it were. In general terms, the missionary strategy was, wherever possible, to look positively at local culture and practice and Christianise it, baptise it, as it were. This initial approach set a tone for Anglican character and identity down the centuries. Our approach tends to be to put down deep roots in local communities We aim to be around for a long time, not flash in the pan kinds of exercises. Where possible, we try to make common cause with local communities, adopting an open and affirming stance rather than standing over against them. We provide places where people can search for meaning and purpose in their own way, at their own pace, and contribute to the community's and the world's well-being. We try to become partners with God, empowered by the Spirit in healing and renewing the world. We are caught up in God's outward movement to love and heal the world. It represents a particular approach to the relationship between gospel and culture. Affirming and transforming is the way we tend to look at things. So the third element in the heart of Anglicanism is valuing reason and experience and remaining open to advancing knowledge.